ministerial positions were finally made public, but many can't seem to understand why it took a while for President Muhammadu Buhari to assemble his cabinet 4 months after winning a second term. In his first outing as a democratically elected president, he famously took 6 months to unveil his team in 2015, with many Nigerians voicing concerns about the implications for a then ailing economy. Since his swearing in on May 29, there have been concerns across quarters about the need for a new cabinet to be inaugurated in order to address the economic and security issues bedeviling the nation. There is no need stating the obvious that there are sectors of the nation's life being affected by the lack of head of ministries.
Oftentimes, it's not all about delay. Even if it takes us some time, but anytime we do it, let us always try and do it right. So for me, the delay wouldn't possibly have gotten any bad effect on the economy. But the most important thing is that after much delay, as it may be, the people who have in place, are they really willing to work or put in their best to make changes in the economy? And if that is their mindset and this is what they actually have in mind, for me, delay is no longer an issue.
Since the dissolution of Buhari's first cabinet in late May 2019, permanent secretaries have been overseeing the operations of government departments, but they are doing so with limited statutory power and they lack authority to approve major decisions. The late appointment of ministers means that Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, does not have a federal executive council, which meets once in a week to take very important decisions that affect the economy and certain aspects of budget implementation. This delay has possibly had a negative impact on the country. The lateness in forming a cabinet sent out wrong signals to foreign governments about Nigeria's readiness to play major roles in global politics and trade. Despite the recent announcement of the ministerial nominees, how does it impact on the nation in general?
For every 10 naira, 7 naira is used in servicing debt. That is independent government revenue. 7 naira out of that is used in servicing debt. So what is left for government to provide services is just 3 naira. Now that can help you understand why the high level of indebtedness, why the government must keep borrowing. Now that's a situation that calls for the best brands. We have poverty, alarming poverty rates across the nation. I haven't even brought in the educational rottenness. Now we have poverty, we have high level of debt, we have a country that is unproductive. The productivity level is at an all-time low. And then we have a dearth of foreign investment. Nobody is investing in Nigeria. Nobody goes to invest in a kind of a conflict society that we now have in Nigeria. Now, using that as a background, then looking at the list that the president has presented to us as the people he's going to work with, I can only tell you that I am highly disappointed. First of all, there is no significant change. It's the same people. So, you've got these people working with you from 2015. The result is everywhere. There has not been any improvement in power generation, in energy supply in Nigeria, which is the major input to production. The reason why manufacturing sector is still in recession. We are not manufacturing. Don't forget we have signed the African Continental Free Trade Agreement the other day. I have no problem with that. But that means that the competitive landscape has really gone haywire. Yet we don't have the enabling environment, we don't have the supporting infrastructure. Okay, and the people that are supposed to have created this didn't do that, and they are being reappointed.
Days after unveiling men and women who will work with him in the new dispensation, some Nigerians shared their thoughts and concerns.
Actually, for me, I'm totally disappointed. What's the cause of my disappointment is that the same set of people that had worked in the previous election year still had to come up because we didn't achieve the reason for democracy. We still have the constant killings, the economy is still the same thing. So I really feel that we could have had a new change. I saw Fashal out there is no change in electricity. Well, it's actually good. The only interest that I have, that I saw Gbemisola Saraki, I love to see her on the board, that she's part of the young generation. But all the rest that are still old people, there are still better heads. Another point that I saw the young man from Oyo State, very good idea. But why can't we even have someone like Showore on the list? Well, I really believe that this is not what should be coming up right now.
There should be mixed feelings because that is what actually formed the society. If everybody agree, the society, everybody will be on the same path and all of us will go and fall inside the pits or something. But the case is that now it had a delay. They said failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Now, if he has failed to prepare early, now he finally submitted the list. Now, this list, the opinion of most Nigerians is that the list is late. The set of people that are on the list are old people. So that is actually my question on this part. Majority, in fact, 99% of them are old people. People that have been, they recycled them. Some of them have been a senator before, who has been governor of a state who never performed. You now want him to be a minister at the same again. Why are we deceiving these fellow Nigerians? Why are those at the helms of affair mismanaging us? Now, this is my take. I am the founder of Youthocracy. I expect at least we have 6 youth among the ministerialists. We only have one. Probably, I don't know our portfolio, because the portfolio is not actually attached to who he has submitted. So how do we know if she's actually going to represent the youth front? I mean, the Saraki that is among them. She's a young girl, a young lady, but I don't know if she's actually going to represent the youth. Now, in that capacity, I have not seen her fronting for the youth in the past. So definitely she might not be representing the youth. So therefore, there is no youth representation in that list. So that is my whole issue with this government. There should be a youth. I am here. If you can't find anybody, look for Tunde Esho. I'm on Wikipedia already. I've been fronting Youthocracy for more than 22 years. So we have a lot of us that are doing good in this country. Okay, we don't depend on the government to move forward. We are helping the country to move forward, protecting the interests of the country. So why can't they choose one of us? There are 6 of us. So that is my take.
The unemployment rate that keeps banding around 30-something, 32%, 35%, is still, to my understanding, a huge underestimate. Because if you add up everything, I can tell you categorically that the unemployment rate in Nigeria is above 60%. Okay? Now, poverty level is another thing. Don't forget that there has been a report, the Global Poverty Watch, recently, said Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. In some states, we have poverty levels above 80%. The average poverty rate, that is people who live below $1 a day, is above 50%. Now, we are seeing, pockets of insurrection, because that's what I call it. It's not just sporadic violence. Because these are people who are hard done by the system, and then who are doing the best they can, which is to carry arms against everybody. We can call them Fulani herdsmen, we can call them whatever. They are not the only violent, organized violent group that we have in Nigeria today. And I'm sure that scenario will keep playing up, not down, as we proceed at this rate. So that is just to bring us into the situation confronting Nigeria, that we need to respond appropriately and with a dire sense of urgency.
There is no constitutional provision that specifies when the president should appoint ministers, but for a country burdened by socio-economic and security challenges, Nigerians are eager to see a rapid change from the misfortunes that have held down the country for decades. The president had said before he unveiled his cabinet that he took his time because he wants to only work with persons he knows. But one would assume that with the next level agenda in mind, and having piloted the nation for 4 years prior, President Buhari would have moved faster in appointing the team that would help set the nation on the path to rapid growth and development. Now that the screening of the 42 nominees has commenced at National Assembly without their corresponding portfolios, Nigerians are waiting with high hopes and expectations that the long-awaited change may have finally come.